Okay, so now we're going to start working with cascading style sheets. So this is where we get to change the appearance of how the page looks and the elements on the page so that we get the aesthetics that we want, as opposed to just the structure, which is what we were doing with HTML. So we're going to be using cascading style sheets. And cascading style sheets are going to be used to control appearance as opposed to structure of the web page. And we're going to have, with a cascading style sheet, we're going to have a selector, and the selector is just going to be the HTML tag or tags that you're trying to impact, and then there's going to be the property that you're trying to impact. So font family. Font family is the CSS property that allows you to change the font style, and then you're going to need values, a value or values, maybe multiple values that you utilize, in this case Arial font, to change the property to the desired appearance. So you can set this up, you can have it set up so that you are applying it to a single selector, but you can also do delimited list, where you take multiple tags and you say, hey, I want to impact how all of these look, and I want to impact them in exactly the same way. So in this example, we would be taking header level 1, 2, and 3, and we would be changing the color. So one of the properties that you can change for text is the color of the text. And the color is going to be done usually in hex, which is this #0000. Hex is numbers 0 through 9, and then letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So some combination of numbers and letters that tell the browser what color you want to use. In this case, #000000 is black. And then some colors, if they're common, you can actually just type the color name in. And another way of doing it, you can modify color using RGB, red, green, blue. I usually use hex, and I think this is a little bit more common. So we can change the color of these three headers. We can change the background color. #FFFFFF is white. That represents white. You can change the font family like we were looking at up here. And here I have a comma delimited list. So this is an example where more than one value has been selected. And the way that this works is the browser will load this and see that you want to modify the font family that's being used from the default. So it would try to do Arial, and if it couldn't find Arial font on the computer, it would then say, can I find Verdana? And if it couldn't find it, it would say, well, I'm going to at least use a sans serif font, which I'll try to remember in the next video to explain what this means. And then font weight, just, hey, what do you want? Do you want things to be bold or not? Do you want them to be medium? You know, what weight do you want? So you can do a single selector, you can do multiple selectors, and then you pick a property and then you apply a value to change the property. And there's three ways that you can do this with cascading style sheets. You can do it what's called inline. You can do inline changes. You can change it. Inline is where you take the tag, like a header tag, and you go style equals, and then you put your properties and values right into the tag itself. The other way to do it is to go up into the header section of the page where it says head, and then close head, and you go in between the head and close head tags before the body tags start, and you put the style tags in there, and we'll see an example of this, and you modify the style directly in the header section of the page. For our purposes this semester, we're going to avoid doing it this way, and I think these are bad to do in general for the most part, and we'll talk about why that is in a little bit. But the third way to do it, and the way that we're going to focus on this semester, is to do an external link. So you use the link tag and you put it right into the head section of the web page, and then you tell it hypertext reference, where is the file located. So you're going to link a style sheet, and then you have to tell the browser what type of thing is being linked and what is the relationship of what's being linked to the page that's linking it. So what we want to do is look at these 3 examples real quickly in practice and see how they're different, and then explain why these 2 are not preferred and why we're going to do it this way this semester. And if I for some reason manage to be able to teach the second semester, we'll be doing it this way all year long. So let's discard that and minimize for a minute and pull Sublime up. So in Sublime I have preloaded some examples. So the inline example is the example where I said you take the tag that you're trying to modify. Say you want to modify the appearance of the header tag on a page. You would put the style information right into the header tag. So if I open this, I have a hidden comment around a header that's been modified. So if I open this page before I modify it, so if I open this up and I go to the inline example and I open it in a browser, here's the header, here's my H1 tag that contains a very exciting article that's not even spelled right. It's an article. So a very exciting article. Change that to an change that if it'll let me type. Change that to article. So the idea is if I unhide this other header tag, so I have another H1 tag here, and it has the same text in it. It says a very exciting article, but it also has the style information directly in the tag. So with the header 1, I do the style equals, and then I take the property and I define the value. So I'm saying, hey, color colon, notice that's a colon, what color do you want? And this is the color black in hex. And then if you do a semicolon, you can append on additional properties that you want to change. So change the background color to, this is white, this is hex for white. Font family will go with freestyle script. So we'll tell the browser, look to see if freestyle script is installed on the computer. If it is, use it. If you can't find a file on the computer that defines freestyle script, which is maybe less common, use a more common style, Verdana. And if you can't find that, at least do a sans serif font and make sure it's bold. So if we save that change, so I remove the hiding tags from around my header tag, and then I go back to the page, and we'll leave both headers on the page initially so we can see how it changes things. You can see that applying that style has changed the appearance of that header tag, and of course you usually wouldn't want to, so the idea would be that you would delete. We wouldn't even delete, we would have typed straight into that one so that we had styled on the page the header the way that we wanted it to. So that's an example of inline styling, where we put the style information directly into the tag. And again, this isn't going to be the recommended way to do it. So if I close this, here's an example of putting the style information into the head section. So up here, I have in hidden comments some style information between the opening head tag and the closing head tag on the page. And remember, the head tag area contains all of the stuff that doesn't get displayed by the browser, but that the browser needs to do its job to display things correctly. And if I open up the head example, it's going to start off with the header 1 being very boring, a very exciting article, spelled correctly this time, fortunately. And if I unhide the style information up in the header section, it has all of the same information I had in the previous example with the inline example. Right, we're changing the color, but this time it's a color that isn't black. I'm going to change the color of the text. The background color is going to be 000, a bunch of zeros. And then this time, instead of that funky font, we'll do Arial. If you can't find Arial, do Verdana. If you can't find Verdana, at least use a sans serif font weight bold. So I unhid that information and we'll hit save. So the style information, open style, close style tag in the head section of the page, and then that should change the appearance. So we've got green text with black background. And like I mentioned before, you can, for common colors like black, we could have just typed black and it's going to know what that is. I think it's not very common to type in the color names. I think using hex, so that shouldn't change the appearance. And in fact, if we changed it to a different common name like, let's see if it knows what pink is, right? Make it something ugly. So it'll make it pink. So common color names, it usually is going to know the common color names. So that's an example of putting it in the header section. The problem with putting it in the header section of the page, like I did here, or inline the way we did it here by putting the style information directly into the tag, here's the primary issue with doing it this way, and this is why it's a clunky solution for most applications. If you have a website that has 100 pages, 500 pages, 1,000 pages, and you want the header, the H1 tag on every single page to look a particular way, you could go into the 100 pages and type the style information into the header tag on all 100 pages, or you could type it once and then copy and paste it over and over and over again. If you put the style information up in the head tag, you would need this information in all 100 pages of your website if you had a 100-page website, if you wanted every header to look exactly the same. And the issue with that is it's not efficient, it's not effective. You need the information in every page. If you make a mistake typing it on any one page, it won't display correctly. And then what happens if you want to change the appearance of the website? You want to, hey, I have this color background for my header 1 tags that are titling my web pages, and I want to change them to this new color. Well, if you're doing it inline or in the header section like this, you would have to go in and edit all 100 pages, which would be time consuming and inefficient, and you might miss a page because maybe you have a deeply buried folder structure and getting to every page is actually going to be difficult to do. So the preferred method is to put a link to a style sheet. So in my style sheets folder, I have a style sheet called example.css, and this has the header information in it. And what you do then is put, here's link example. You put a link to that style sheet in the header section. So all it gets is a link. You say, hey, here in the header section between the head and the closing head tags, I'm going to put a link. This is a self-closing tag. And REL stands for relationship. So this is telling the browser what is the relationship between the link and the page it's being loaded into. And this says, hey, the relationship is this. It's a style sheet that's going to impact the appearance of this page. What type of document? It's a text document that is cascading style sheet that contains cascading style sheet information, and hypertext reference href. Where is the location of the style sheet? Hey, it's in my style sheets folder, and its name is example.css. And remember those issues that we had to deal with loading images and links, where you might need to back up out of folders using, for example, .. all of those things that we learned about finding locations of folders and files are going to hold for style sheets. Those types of issues don't go away. But in this case, my link example can see my style sheets folder, so I can tell this page link example to look in the style sheets folder and find that example. So all I need to do then is go and open that style sheet, get rid of the head example, go to the style sheet, open example.css, and I have some hidden comments in here. So up here, / asterisk is how you hide stuff in style sheets. So a little different style than for HTML pages, but if you've done any coding, then you would be familiar with this style of hiding things. So /* hides everything, and then to end the hiding, you do */. So now I've unhidden the header information, so I can go Control Save to save that change. And the link to this file is in the head section here. So now if I open that page in the browser, so link example, I should have a header that's been modified based on the style information in the style sheet. Background color, pound with 6 F's is white, so we could change that to something else. For example, we could dump red in there. I don't know why we would want to, but we could. And voila, we've got red background. So this is going to be the glory of the style sheet method. This link to the style sheet can be, if we have a 100-page website, the link can be in the header section of all 100 pages. But the moment we edit the single style sheet and hit save, that change populates to all 100 pages that contain the link. So instead of having to edit 100 pages, we edit a style sheet, which then automatically updates the entire website. We can make broad changes to our whole website by making simple changes to the style sheet. And so style sheets will be the tool that we use. And the next video, we're going to walk through a style sheet example of modifying a page.